Welcome everybody to this product training on balanced glucose. We're glad you could all make it. We have a treat today. Our director of R&D, Mike Saunders, is going to be training and teaching all of us about our flagship product, one of the products that Unicity really made its name for, and that is our BIOS Lifeline, or in this case, our balanced cholesterol. Mike has been the director of R&D for the last little bit. He's been traveling the world teaching everybody about these products, and he has almost 2 decades of experience in research and development. Over 10 years of that was spent in the pharmaceutical world or industry with drug development. So he has a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge. He's one of the smartest guys I know. And so he's a great teacher. This is going to be a great training, and it will be available after over the next few days in your resource library. So at this time, we'd like to welcome Mike, and it's going to be a great training.
Thank you very much, Micah. I'm excited to be here and excited to be able to talk to you guys a little bit about balanced cholesterol. I'm going to talk a little bit about all of the Unicity fiber products, but I'm really going to focus on balanced cholesterol. Balanced cholesterol is probably my personal favorite product from Unicity, one of them anyway, right up there with Unimata and a couple others. But and I'm going to tell you a little bit of why. But really, Unicity is a company that has been working on fiber and has been thinking about fiber and has known about the importance of fiber for longer than really any other company out there. We've been doing this since the early 90s, and we've had a lot of experience. We've learned a lot about fiber. And I'm going to talk about why fiber in general is important in your diet. So if you look at the standard American diet, it's a sad diet. And up to 70% of the food that we eat is processed food. That's a ridiculous statistic because processed food is incredibly unhealthy for us. 10% of our income we spend on fast food. We consume an average of 130 pounds of sugar every year. Over a third of us are obese, and that number is climbing every year. We have problems with diabetes. We have problems with cholesterol. We have problems with our weight. And most of this is because of the types of food that we eat. Now, a lot of people out there say, well, look, I'm trying to do better. I'm eating vegetables. But even if you look at the vegetables that we eat nowadays, the vegetables that we eat nowadays are different from fruits and vegetables that existed hundreds to thousands of years ago. This slide is actually a really cool and really interesting slide to me because it talks about what we've done to our food. If you look at the picture of corn, the corn that we recognize on the right is your typical yellow corn, but what it actually traditionally was before we started to change it through selective breeding was this little yellow stalk that looks more like a wheat or something like that. Carrots, the same thing. Carrots used to be very fibrous. They used to have very low sugar content. They used to look pretty much like a standard root. Now they have a lot of water, they have a lot more sugar, and they have a lot less fiber than they ever used to. Fruits like peaches are the same way. Peaches used to have very small amount of edible flesh. Most of the material in the peach was actually fiber, the skin, and the stone. Bananas. This picture is actually, the last picture is actually a picture of banana. And you can see the inside is mostly fiber and seeds. That's the way that fruits and vegetables used to be. And over the years, we've basically stripped fiber out of fruits and vegetables as much as we possibly can because we don't like the way fiber tastes. Fiber doesn't taste as good as sugar. Fiber doesn't taste juicy. It doesn't taste sweet. It's harder to chew. So we've tried to take fiber out of food as much as possible in order to make people want to buy the fruits and vegetables that we grow. Now we have very large fruit. We have very large peaches, apples. The size and the amount of sugar in these fruits and vegetables is very different than what it used to be. And that's also impacted our diet. Not as much as processed foods, but it still had a significant impact. So what are we supposed to eat as far as fiber consumption? If you look at the Institute of Medicine, and there's a few different places where you can find this type of information. Institute of Medicine is one of the groups that gives recommendations on how much of certain things we need to get. If you're under 50 years of age and you're a male, you should be getting 38 grams of fiber a day. If you're female, you should be getting 25 grams of fiber a day. As you get older, your fiber requirements go down because your caloric requirements go down. So it's not that you don't need much fiber, it's that you need less calories in general. And so because you're consuming less calories, you consume less fiber. Now, what do we actually get? If you look at the average fiber consumption, it's fairly consistent. It's right around 15 grams a day. So that's less than half of what you need if you're male and just over half of what you need if you're female. So we're not getting enough fiber. Now, we've known for many, many years that fiber is healthy. Back in the 40s, we started isolating and studying the effect of fiber on people, what it actually does. And we found really early on that fiber is important for things like bowel movements and things like cholesterol. And because of these early studies, places like Kellogg's and Post and General Mills started talking about how heart healthy their cereal is. Now, we know a little bit more about what is healthy and what is not healthy. And most people here would not say cereal is a healthy food because cereal is mostly simple carbohydrates. Now, it does have a little bit of fiber, and because it has a little bit of fiber in it, they can actually legally make a claim that it can help lower cholesterol. They can legally make a claim that it's heart healthy. And all over the cereal aisle, you'll either see cereal that they don't even try to be healthy. They look like junk food. It's like Donut-O's or something like that. Or they'll have cereal that makes an effort to look healthy and appear healthy. And they all say things about heart health and lower cholesterol. Cheerios is famous for it. They can do that because they have a little bit of fiber. What happens when you eat an orange versus orange juice? When you eat an orange, your body reacts differently than when you drink orange juice. And this is because of the fiber. This is a perfect example of why fiber is important for blood sugar control. This is a graph that shows blood sugar. You get a slightly larger spike when you eat orange juice versus when you eat an orange. And there's an even more dramatic response when you're talking about insulin levels. Insulin levels are dramatically important because when you have high insulin levels, that's when your body's storing, when your body's signaling to your cells to pull in fat. So you're actually storing fat at that time. High insulin levels are something that we want to avoid, especially chronically high insulin levels, because that eventually leads to prediabetes and diabetes. So if you start adding fiber into your meals, you can see that you have a dramatic impact on blood sugar and an even more dramatic impact on insulin levels. And this is just the difference between orange juice and orange. And really all that is an orange extract where you've taken all the fiber and put it aside and you're drinking the juice. It has healthy things in it, but it's gonna affect your blood sugar and your insulin level. So, like I said earlier, Unicity has been working with fiber for a long time. This BIOS Life diet was a soluble fiber drink that Unicity promoted back in the 90s, the early 90s. And it was really the first in the BIOS Life line. We've come a long way since then. And now we have really 4 flagship fiber products that are key fiber products. We have balanced glucose, we have balanced cholesterol, we have Life Fiber, and we have BIOS 7. And those are all products that have some similarities and some differences. One of the first things that we talked about when we talked about fiber was how fiber helps with bowel movement regularity, how fiber helps with gut health. When we think about those types of needs, that's where Life Fiber comes in. It's a fairly basic fiber with some really quality ingredients that help support digestive and gut health. And then if you think about balanced glucose, that's where we're really wanting to focus on fibers that specifically impact your body's ability to absorb sugar. I mentioned earlier the little blood sugar graph just with eating an orange versus drinking orange juice. There's a dramatic difference with just the fiber that's inherent to the orange. Now with balanced glucose, we've actually optimized the types of fiber that we use. It's a blend of several different types of fiber and it has other minerals and nutrients in it as well that help your body deal with blood sugar levels, keeping your blood sugar levels at an optimal level, and also keeping insulin levels at an optimal level so that you don't have problems down the road. BILE 7, it has a similar fiber base to balanced cholesterol and balanced glucose. It's in that same range, but it also has additional added ingredients that are specifically targeted towards supporting microbiome, making your microbiome more diverse, making your microbiome more healthy. This has dramatic impact as far as digestive health and immune health and inflammation and other things along those lines. So BILE 7 has a key role to play there. The last one that I'm going to talk about is balanced cholesterol. And this is the one that I'm going to focus on for the rest of the talk. And balanced cholesterol, it has fiber, and the fiber matrix is optimized for helping your body balance and control and have optimal blood lipid levels. I'm going to go into detail on that one. So of all of the products that we have at Unicity, our fiber products are the most studied products. We've been working on them for the longest. They have more patents, more papers, more publications about them, more studies on them than any of our other products. For a while, I did some work with the transformation program and our health and wellness group. And it was some of the most exciting work that I've been able to do at Unicity, because when you're talking about people's health, that's when you're really impacting people. When you're helping somebody change themselves for the better in a visible and measurable way, that's an amazing thing to be able to do. And with the help of Unicity's balanced products and our transformation program, we've helped thousands and thousands and thousands of people. We've actually used this as kind of a large-scale clinical study where we've taken measurements before and after. We've looked at weight loss. We've looked at blood sugar levels. We've looked at blood cholesterol levels. And in thousands and thousands of individuals, when they take Unicity Balance products and they incorporate diet and exercise, they consistently have results where they lower their blood sugar levels. They lower their hemoglobin A1C levels. They lower their cholesterol levels, and they become much healthier because of that. So now I'm going to talk and focus really on what it is that Unicity Balance does. There's 4 key ingredients. There's more than 4 key ingredients, but 4 that they're really part of the mechanism of how balanced cholesterol works. There's the fiber matrix, which is a unique blend of fibers. There is a chrysanthemum extract. There is phytosterols, and there's polycosanol. These work by 4 mechanisms. The first is bile acid sequestration. The second is inhibiting cholesterol absorption. The third is inhibiting cholesterol synthesis in the liver. And the fourth is helping your body convert bile acids to cholesterol. So why are bile acids important? Why is it important that you can pull these bile acids out of your body and out of your digestive system and help your body eliminate them? Bile acids are actually critical for your body to function properly. Bile acids are necessary for digestion of foods, particularly fats. But bile acids are made from cholesterol. If I take bile acids out of my system, my body immediately has to replace bile acids. And it does that by pulling cholesterol out of my blood and creating bile acids from it. So the fiber matrix in balanced cholesterol is actually geared towards these bile acids. It similar to the way that it binds to the balanced glucose binds to glucose, this fiber matrix binds to bile acids and basically holds on to them as the fiber passes through our digestive system and passes out of our body. That makes our body need to make more bile acids, which pulls cholesterol out of our blood to be used to make those bile acids. The second is inhibiting dietary cholesterol absorption. Plant phytosterols are very important molecules that are well known to compete with our body's ability to absorb cholesterol. Cholesterol is a big molecule. You can see the picture of cholesterol here on the screen. It's a large molecule. It's too big to travel from one side of your intestines to the other side of your intestines unless it has help. It can't just passively diffuse across the membrane. There's specific receptors in our intestine that recognize cholesterol and pull it from the inside of our intestines into our bloodstream. Now, when we eat phytosterols and they go into our intestines, those same receptors recognize the phytosterols and they actually attach to them preferentially over cholesterol. So when we're eating phytosterols, our body can't absorb cholesterol as well because it's already stuck to those phytosterols. So that inhibits our body's ability to absorb dietary cholesterol. The next thing is inhibiting liver cholesterol synthesis. This is something that if you know anything about cholesterol-lowering drugs, medications that you would get pharmaceutically, those drugs, like the statin drugs, the mechanism that they have is they block your body's ability to synthesize cholesterol in the liver. We use a naturally occurring compound called polycosanol. It's actually a sugarcane extract. And polycosanol, it doesn't block your body's ability to synthesize cholesterol. What it does is it helps modulate your body's ability to synthesize cholesterol so that it balances your body's ability to synthesize cholesterol. And when you have a little bit of polycosanol in combination with the other ingredients, it helps bring down the total amount of cholesterol by slowing down the process of making cholesterol. The last ingredient is this chrysanthemum extract. And this chrysanthemum extract, what it actually does is catalyzes the conversion of cholesterol to bile acids. So you remember we use the fiber to eliminate bile acids from our system. Now we have cholesterol. We have a chrysanthemum extract that makes it easier to convert that cholesterol to those bile acids. So that gives us a final way to kind of complete the cycle to help us reduce cholesterol. I mentioned that we've done a lot of studies on these products, and one clinical study that we did, I just want to look at some of the numbers as far as cholesterol reduction goes. LDL is getting less black and white clear what is healthy cholesterol and what is unhealthy cholesterol. That's something that I want to mention. LDL isn't necessarily unhealthy cholesterol because LDL is a range of types of cholesterol. But the unhealthy type of cholesterol that we think of that generally causes problems with heart disease is a type of LDL cholesterol. It's actually the smaller, more dense particles of LDL cholesterol that tend to contribute towards clogging of the arteries and things like that. If you're reducing your total LDL cholesterol, then you're reducing those more harmful LDL molecules. And when you take balanced cholesterol, if you have high cholesterol, you have significant reductions in LDL cholesterol. You get some reduction if you have healthy cholesterol levels, but if you're really outside of healthy, if you have greater than 160 for your cholesterol level, you can see up to a 30% reduction in cholesterol, which is pretty dramatic. One other key thing that I want you to notice with this is HDL cholesterol, which is the good cholesterol. Balanced cholesterol doesn't just lower unhealthy cholesterol, it actually raises healthy cholesterol. So that you end up with around a 12% increase in your HDL levels. That's important because what's the biggest predictor of heart disease? It's not LDL levels, it's actually HDL to triglyceride ratio. So triglyceride we haven't talked about as well either, but when you lower triglyceride levels, and in this case, the study shows about a 15% reduction in triglyceride levels, and you raise HDL levels, then you're adjusting that HDL to triglyceride ratio such that you're much, much, much healthier and much less likely to have risk of heart disease. I want to talk about one more study before we finish up here. And the reason why I want to talk about this study is because statin drugs are something that a lot of people are taking to help control their cholesterol. They're pharmaceutical drugs, Lipitor, atorvastatin. These types of drugs are been on the market for about 20 years now, and they're for a while were prescribed almost in excess to people that had even marginally high cholesterol levels. And it would drop cholesterol levels for these people, but it dropped both HDL and LDL cholesterols to the point where people actually had dangerously low HDL levels and actually started to have as much or more heart disease on these cholesterol lowering drugs than they did when they didn't take the cholesterol lowering drugs. Because it's not total cholesterol, it's not LDL, it's not HDL, it's the ratio of HDL to triglycerides that's really the predictor of heart disease. And when you're lowering HDL, you're impacting that HDL to triglyceride ratio in a negative way. When people are taking statin drugs and they have unhealthy levels of HDL, they have low HDL levels, then you can see an increase in HDL of up to 23%, which is an amazing increase in HDL levels. That's something where you're going from an unhealthy HDL level to a healthy HDL level, which dramatically improves your quality of life and your potential to avoid heart disease. So the last thing I want to talk about before I move on is how these products work with some of the new GLIC products. For those of you that were at GLIC or that have heard of the GLIC products and know about them, we launched 2 new products, LC Base and Unimate Fuel. And we talked a lot about low carb and insulin control and how to adapt your diet to make your body more able to burn fat and more metabolically flexible. Those are great goals and they're great things to focus on. The problem with lowering your carbohydrate intake is that people tend to have even less fiber consumption when they go on a low carb diet. That can have a negative health impact. So I mentioned earlier that one of my favorite products is balanced cholesterol. And this is the reason why. I went on a ketogenic diet about 2 years ago. Well, I guess about 2.5 years ago now. And I did it for about 1.5 years. And I lost a lot of weight and I was very healthy in appearance. But over the course of time, when I was on this ketogenic diet, my cholesterol levels went up dramatically to the point where I felt uncomfortable with them. And I started taking balanced cholesterol. And I kept my diet the same as it had been. But by adding that fiber back into my diet, by adding balanced cholesterol into my diet, I was able to reduce my cholesterol levels from about 210 down to about 140 again. So personal experience, clinical studies, there's so much evidence that balanced cholesterol is something that everybody should be taking if they have any issues with cholesterol at all. To me, it's one of those no-brainers. It's something that we should all be taking. And as you go to a lower carbohydrate diet, as you start drinking LC Base and using Unimate Fuel and increasing your fat intake, it becomes even more important to take a product like balanced cholesterol, because it's going to help make sure you stay healthy, make sure you have those high HDL levels, those low triglyceride levels, and those reasonable LDL levels, so that you can not just look healthy, not just feel healthy, but actually be healthy. And that's another way that Unicity helps bridge the gap between where we want to be and where we are. And that's another way that Unicity helps us change the world. Thank you for listening. I have a couple of things that I want to mention. One of the biggest things that I get asked when I'm out talking about our products is, when should I take balanced cholesterol? When should I take balanced glucose? When should I take Bio 7? What's the difference between the products? When should I take which one? And I wanted to talk a little bit about that before I finish up. So for me, I always take balanced cholesterol. That's what I'm always going to take, because for me, I have issues with cholesterol. I know that if I'm not careful with my diet, my cholesterol will go up. I know that if I stop taking balanced cholesterol, my cholesterol will go up. if I had specific glucose issues, if I had prediabetes, if I had higher blood sugar levels, if I had higher HbA1c levels, then I would probably focus on taking Balance glucose, because that's the one that's most formulated for blood sugar control. That's not to say that Bio7 and Balanced Cholesterol don't have blood sugar control elements to them. Because they are a fiber-based product, they will still help some with blood sugar, but not as much as Balanced Glucose would. And the same goes for cholesterol. All of our fiber products are going to help some with cholesterol, but not the extent of Balanced Cholesterol, because they don't have those additional ingredients that are really focused on cholesterol. Now, Bio7, for me, I take Bio7 every day because that's the one that is the general health fiber, to where if I don't necessarily have cholesterol problems, I don't necessarily have blood sugar problems, I just want to have a healthy body, a healthy mind, better immune system. That's the one that I'm going to take every day, because that's the one that builds up my microbiome and helps my body be healthy by helping me have the proper relationship with the gut bacteria in my digestive system. So that's the answer that I give, and that's the reason why you should take each one of those products, sometimes individually, sometimes like I do with Balanced Cholesterol and Bio7, take them together. Thank you very much for listening. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to come to this training, and I hope to see you guys next month when we do another one.